were in our fun Friday meeting, right? You know, our fun Friday meeting. Yeah. And we were all, you know, math team. We over there, we cracking our jokes, we laughing, we ha-ha. And then off the sideline, you know that side of the wall where they had that little splitting wall? In walks the good Dr. Reverend Rachel. She walked in, it was almost like she was in slow motion or something. She was like she was in slow motion. But anyway, so she walks in, and then we were like, man, look at her executive presence. She had on her red bottom, knee-high, black leather boots. And she, like, right. And then she had her hair was like immaculate. It wasn't a place. I think it was in a little bun. It was like not a place, like not a piece of hair out of place. And then she had on this, it was like this black skirt. It was like a knee skirt or something like that. And then she had on her nice jacket. She was just fly. We just had a whole conversation about her. I was like, man, look at her. She rocking her executive presence. And so she's like, yeah, let's do shout outs. And so we like, man, we just got to shout out your fly. Yo, shout out your fly, because she was on point that day. But Dr. Reverend Rachel was always on point. Let's just give a clap for that right there. Right,
Then I can say, so that's when we decided that she should do a look on executive presence, but coming from the approach of appearance. So really trying to think about what does executive presence look like in your wardrobe, and we wanted the look for less on the book.
Right, because right. I don't have it where I can get the red bottom boots. Right, you know, I can't do the Louboutins, but how we get the look for less. So that is your fly. So as we were talking, we were planning for like, what are we gonna talk about in terms of executive presence? I'm sure you're saying, what is your fly? And your fly is the fashionable look for, drum roll please, you. So let's jump right into it. So 3 things we're going to discuss today. Number 1, we're going to talk about what are top aspects of appearance. Secondly, we discussed that, but what do you not do? And thirdly, let's give you some tactics and tips on how you can exude your executive presence.
All right, guys, according to the Executive Presence book, there are 5 top things to think about when talking about appearance. Number 1 is being polished and groomed. After that, we're talking about being physically attractive, fit, and slim, followed by simple, stylish clothing that fits the job and position that you're in. Next, being tall, and lastly, being youthful and vigorous. So we're only going to talk about 3 of these really in depth, but we're going to give you everything, the low down and dirty that you need to know about these top aspects of appearance.
Let's start with being polished and being groomed. You want to look like when you arrive at work that you made some effort when you got up there.
So not just I hit the snooze button 10 times, I'm running late, I barely made it, I'm holding it together. No, you actually thought about, you know how when you're getting ready for the first day of school fees and you lay out your outfit and you know you're going to kill it. That's the kind of effort you got to put into getting ready for work.
Absolutely. Because executive presence, what that does is it shows that you pay attention to the details, right? So if I don't have scuffed shoes, I'm saying, man, you can trust me with your business because I am that impeccable with the things that I do, because it's all about working with what's in our locus of control. We can control how we present ourselves every day. It's not about like being perfect. It's about working with what you got.
It's ultimately about dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you had. So really taking the time to pay attention to the details, making sure your hair's in place, your nails look good, you ironed your clothes, you're getting ready for work that day. You know, you don't have stains and food spills, because we all do, we're all the clumsy.
Guilty as charged.
But you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, because your appearance is really what people see about you first. Before you ever open your mouth and start to speak, that's what they see first. So you want to make sure that you're giving them something to look at in a positive way so that they want to hear what you have to say. Guys, the next top aspect of appearance that we're talking about is being physically attractive, fit, and slim. And I know you might be thinking, like, really, how did top leaders think that this was important? So it's not exactly what you think. It's not about making sure you have a six-pack, you're ready to be in the next Victoria's Secret runway shoot. It's not, trying to be the ebony jet of the week. Like, it's none of that. Right? When we're talking about that, we're really talking about, yes, signaling that you are fit, and well. So being physically fit really gives people the confidence in you that you actually take care of yourself when you're asked to do what you're supposed to do. So by them saying that you take care of yourself, you're eating well, you have the appearance that is all together, they're more likely to think that in situations where times get tough, you're going to take that same care and attention to what's going on with the business that they provided and given you. So really making sure that you give the appearance, right? Keywords there, the appearance that you are being physically fit and taking the time out, especially when, you know, this job gets stressful. There are lots of things that happen and take place in the course of the day. And if you're actually do go to the gym and work out, those are added benefits and ways to de-stress. And no manager wants to think that under pressure you can't handle yourself. So being fit is a way to exude executive presence when it comes to appearance.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, we're our most valuable asset. So if we take good care of us, then of course we're going to take great care of your business. The third thing is simple and stylish. Two things I'm going to say here. Number one, you want to dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. So if I'm trying to be that next executive, I need to start dressing like that. As they say, the vision will pull you forward. But you already want to put yourself in that spot and start dressing for the opportunity, so you don't have to get ready. You're already going to be ready. And then secondly, each one of us has a signature look. Something that makes us who we are, right? You know, I'm gonna be in my suits, you know what I'm saying, rocking like that. Like, you wouldn't catch me in a skirt and some heels. That's not my jam. That is not my fly. But, you know, Reverend Rachel, we know she in the red bottoms, tight with the heels, you know what I'm saying? So everybody has their thing. Casey got her tights. And so you just have to find what that is. And it's, again, about working with what you got.
So now we're going to talk about being youthful and vigorous. So when thinking about being youthful and vigorous, the one thing that you want to remember is really find the things that make you you. What are some of the strengths that you have, and really play those strengths up. You know, sometimes we get bogged down with what we can't do and what doesn't look good on us or what doesn't sound right. But you really have to find the things that you really are good at and flaunt those things. Because when we're thinking about executive presence and appearance, the crucial point to keep in mind is that your appearance is the medium through which your message is going to be conveyed. So it should neither detract or distract from what you're trying to tell your audience. You don't have to ace all the elements of appearance here, right? So if wearing high heel shoes is not your thing and you know it's going to distract from what you have to say, ditch those heels, wear your flats, be comfortable, right? By all means, you want to make sure that your message and what you have to say comes through. But making sure that you're put together, you're neat and polished, that's really what's important, right? So like Fit said, everybody has their own individual fly, and you just got to tune in and find yours.
Right, we laid it out. We said what to do. We gave you the tips. But we also have to address what not to do. Let's start with what not to do.
All right, what you got first? What's first?
All right, so one of the things is dandruff on the shoulders. Dandruff is something to consider. Just making sure that it's tight and right on your shoulders.
What Jay-Z say? That's the shirt. That's the dirt off the shoulder.
That's it. That's
Jay-Z.
That's the shirt off the shoulder. All right. Another thing they mentioned was bitten and broken nails. So that may be something that you just kind of want to pay attention to.
Right. Like, you don't have to incorporate going to the nail shop every 2 weeks. Right. But, you know, if your polish is starting to chip, there's something going on, you got some hangnails, just go ahead and take care of this. It's all about giving the appearance that you're well put together. So get you a little file, little clipper to keep in the car, so that anytime those things happen, you go ahead and take care of it. You know, take the polish off this chipping, ladies.
Well, see, I don't know about that. I don't get my nails done. See, look, I need to have some executive presence right here with my nails looking a hot mess. So the last thing in terms of what not to do is unkempt attire. And we have a few tips on the unkempt attire. So one of the things is wrinkled shirts.
Right. Next is spilling stuff. So we are all clumsy. We are all guilty of enjoying a nice lunch and something happens to fall on our clothes. So, you know, Fitz, you want to tell them about what your coach had you do?
Yeah, so when I was in college, my senior gift was a beard because I'm kind of clumsy. I could be a tad bit sloppy. I'm just owning that. So when I was reading the book, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to have to watch this. Can't drop the stuff on my clothes.
Yes. So next is being ashy. So we can control that, right? So we can keep a little lotion, a little Vaseline with us at all times. Just do a little self-check. Look at yourself, check your elbows before you go in. Check your face, check your lips, because we're guilty of that. Like, I don't wear lipstick, so I have to make sure my lips are hydrated before I go into any kind of presentation.
Awesome. Also, being sloppy, so like having your clothes like kind of out of place, like clothes too big, not having a belt on. Those are some things. Just kind of having it together, being really neat, polished, and
yeah, that takes us back to dress for the body that you have. Some of us, we hold on to clothes. They're gonna fit. We're gonna make it work. And we have to make sure that we're dressing for the body that we have, not the body that we want. So remember, dress for the job you want, not the one you have. Okay? So, but when you're getting dressed, you want to dress for the body you have, not the body that you want.
On your way, but you on your way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so one of the things is armpit stains. So just making sure that you have that, maintaining that. Make sure you don't have the armpit stains in the shirts.
Yeah, so if you have some that have those stains, let them go. Time to donate them, get some new things in.
And lastly, scuffed shoes. So just making sure that your shoes are nice and neat. And again, that goes back to being polished and groomed, because if you take the details all the way down to your shoes, then you seem trustworthy and you really consider the details with yourself. I know that you'll do it with my business.
One thing that you want to think about is really accentuate your strengths and your assets. So, perfect example is Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is known for one thing when it comes to her look, and those are her arms. They always play up her arms. You'll notice that a lot of things that she wears is sleeveless, because that's her number one asset.
Yeah, that's it.
That's her asset. So everybody has something that they can play up. Like, I really like really fine glasses. I like my smile is really nice. So you'll see me play that up a lot when you see me. So that's something that I really strive to push forward, because that's what I'm very comfortable with. So always make sure that you accentuate your strengths and your assets, whether it's physical or personal. That's what the people are looking for.
The tip is, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not. So you ever had that little voice in your head? I like to call my little voice Sybil. They tell you, like, you know what? You don't need to wear that today. That don't look right. Or either you're pulling down your blouse and it just doesn't feel comfortable. I want you to keep in mind that our appearance is almost like it's our costume. And we want to be like Superman. This is my superpower, baby. We don't want it to heighten our insecurity. And then when in doubt, you can always ask yourself this. What would Rachel wear?
And if Rachel wouldn't wear it, you probably want to put it back in the closet for the weekend. All right, you also have to think about, it's not how good you look, it's how appropriate you look for your audience. So, guys, the Oscars just came by, what was it, last weekend? And so it would not be appropriate for us to come dressed like we are ready to slay at the Oscars, right? If I come in and what Billy Porter had on the red carpet runway, or even Angela Bassett, because she was super fly in that pink dress, and I came and rolled up in Zone PD with it, it's not appropriate. It's not what the people are looking for, and they're going to be looking at me like, where is this lady going, right? So it is all about how appropriate you look for the audience that you're about to go and talk to. So whether that's at schools, it's at the TLA doing a presentation, you want to make sure that you're dressed for your audience.
So the next tip is, you want to stay in costume to stay in character. I want you to think about a brand, right? Like, we know Coca-Cola and we know Pepsi. These are brands, and each one of us, we are a brand. So whenever we step out the house, we step into our costume and we don't take it off until we come home. It's not just an act; it is a mindset. But there's this quote from the book. I want to make sure I read this, because this was just tight. I gotta say it. To do and be your best, you must strive to look your best. And that look depends on forethought and attention to detail. It is not an act so much as it is a mindset. And again, it's about bringing you what is your fly. Okay, so the last key is feedback is the breakfast of champions. Yes. So if you are unsure about, am I rocking my executive presence? Am I on my game? ask a trusted colleague or a trusted mentor to help you or advisor to give you some feedback. Because they say feedback is the breakfast of champions. And it's just constructive criticism to help us improve and get better. Because we can always improve. None of us have arrived. We can always improve our fly.
Do you have an acronym for FLY?
Yes. Fashionable look for you.
Oh.
Yes, that is correct. That is your fly. Okay, so here is the benediction of our segment
on executive presence.
Right. I'm still gonna ask. I'm not here today, but I'm still. Can we leave now? No. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Alright, so kind of to put a nice bow on what we talked about today, you know, appearance is important, but it's not the most important thing when we talk about executive presence. As the good Dr. Rachel has already told us, the key things that we really want to think about first are gravitas and communication. But how well you look when you step into a room, that does help to exude executive presence. So as Fitz said, you know, you're dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you have, and really making sure that you keep your costume on and your armor on at all times, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another big piece of this is just owning what is your fly. Like, it's not about being like somebody else. It's about you standing in the truth of who you are. This is whatever that is. Owning it, because again, as I say, it's about working with what you got and just owning that, accentuating your assets, and that is executive presence. Yes, hello, and we out. Peace. We have a few picks to show you some really strong killer examples of some executive presence.
Yes, some real true people who are owning their fly. Yes. These are a few pics of their signature looks.
Yes, and we out. So now that we've talked about it, we've opened home. No.
Right. This anyway, because like, you know, when they be on the news, and the casters up there, they only focus on the person that's talking.
Okay, all right. Okay. Since Stephanie did not want to be in this part, no, really. I got to get my mind right. All right, so
full translation.
Okay. Wait, I am recording. Okay.
All right. This next top aspect of appearance is big. We got to start. What did I talk about?
Cut the tape! Cut the tape! Cut it! Cut the tape! I'm cutting it!
I'm gonna be like, yeah,
Why?
Because the man team likes to have fun.
Right. The good Dr. Reverend Rachel, you shouldn't have told us to do it. We had to take it to the next level. We exuding executive presence right now.
Evolving our brand.
There you go.